You must protect your family no matter who you are and who you're against, and Dean Martin knew this. August 15, 1972, evening 10:45 p.m. While Dean Martin was having a private dinner with his family in the VIP section, next to the prestigious Copa room at the Sands Hotel, no one could have predicted that he would confront one of Las Vegas's most feared mafia leaders in 5 minutes, and that this encounter would be written in golden letters in the city's history. What happened that night would not only strengthen the Dean Martin legend, but also forever change the power dynamics of Las Vegas. That night, Dean had organized a special dinner meticulously planned to introduce his 18-year-old daughter Diana Martin to other family members and celebrate his daughter's university achievements. Diana was a beautiful, intelligent, and extremely innocent young woman studying art history at USC. She had been kept under protection since childhood due to her father's fame, raised in a pure environment away from Hollywood's dark sides. Diana, who attracted attention with her long blonde hair, blue eyes, and natural beauty, also had artistic talents, like her father. That evening, sitting at the table in her pink chiffon dress, pearl necklace, and shy smile, Diana was the pride of her father in every way, and this could be read in her father's eyes. Dean was talking about his daughter's academic achievements in college, the praise-filled letters Diana received from her art history professors, her creativity in exhibition projects, the fact that her article on the Renaissance period would be published in the university journal. Everything filled the father's heart with pride. "Diana, you are truly wonderful. Your character is as perfect as your academic success," Dean was saying, paternal love sparkling in his eyes. Jeanne, Dean's wife, sitting next to the table, was looking at her daughter admiringly, enjoying this beautiful family moment. But what Dean didn't know was that Vincent Russo, sitting just 3 tables away from them, was watching Diana carefully, even disturbingly, and was thinking extremely inappropriate thoughts in his mind. Russo's eyes were following Diana's every movement, and what was going through his mind in the face of the young girl's innocent beauty was not innocent at all. Vincent Russo was the capo of the most influential mafia family in the Las Vegas underworld. At 45 years old, muscular, dangerous man, who carried the traces of 40 years of ruthlessness, violence and power on his face. His thick neck, wrinkled hands, and always half-closed eyes gave him a sinister air. He was seen at the Sands Hotel at least 3 times a week, played tens of thousands of dollars at high-limit gambling tables, conducted his business from there, and expected no one to interfere with him. In Las Vegas, those who heard Russo's name would reflexively lower their voices, avoid eye contact, and stay as far away from him as possible. Because everyone knew that people who had problems with Vincent Russo usually disappeared quietly from Las Vegas. Dean was gathered around his family, discussing Diana's social work in college, her friendships, her future plans. Diana was explaining that she wasn't thinking of singing on stage like her father, but instead wanted to become a museum director, planning to do graduate studies in Italy. "Dad, you really don't need to be this proud," Diana laughed shyly but happily, but the love and pride in Dean's eyes couldn't be hidden. This was an ordinary, familial, peaceful moment, one of the most beautiful examples of a father's special bond with his daughter, until Vincent Russo stood up with heavy steps and began walking toward their table, attracting the attention of other table customers. Dean Martin. Russo's thick, unpleasant voice instantly changed the restaurant's atmosphere. Several tables fell silent, waiters stopped, tension spread in the air. "Our famous singer has come here, and this beautiful young lady must be your daughter." Dean stood up, out of courtesy and respect. Of course he knew Russo. It was impossible not to know people like him in Las Vegas, but he never wanted to deal with such dark characters when he was with his family. He had been careful for years to keep Diana away from this environment. "Hello Vince, we're having a private evening, as a family, we need some privacy." Of course, Russo grinned disgustingly, his eyes never leaving Diana. He looked the young girl up and down, there was a disturbing gleam in his eyes. "But when you see such a beautiful girl, how can anyone Dean, your daughter really?" Russo's eyes scanned Diana's body immorally, "has become a very developed young woman. She's no longer a little girl, she's a complete woman. If you ask me, she's reached marriage age." An icy silence fell over the restaurant. The color had drained from Dean's face, his jaw had hardened like stone. Diana was extremely uncomfortable, her face had reddened, she had bowed her head in shame. Dean's wife Jeanne immediately put her hand on her daughter's shoulder with a protective maternal reflex, trying to pull her to herself. People sitting at nearby tables understood how inappropriate, even immoral Russo's words were, but no one had the courage to say anything to Las Vegas's most dangerous man. In that atmosphere, No one dared even to breathe. No one except Dean Martin, because he instinctively had the reflex to protect his family and was restraining himself for this. A volcanic anger was rising inside Dean, but there was a cold mask on his face. He slowly, threateningly stepped toward Russo. His voice was low, but clear enough for everyone in the restaurant to hear and ice cold. Vincent, if you talk about my daughter like that again, don't forget that you'll have to bear the consequences of what you say. What will you do? Russo was openly challenging, trying to appear confident in his power. I'm Vincent Russo. In this city, no word is listened to except mine. Your daughter is beautiful, and I just said she's beautiful. What's the crime in that? We live in a free country. The crime, Dean's voice came out sharp as a knife, each word emphasized separately, is bothering my family, disrespecting my daughter, and now you're going to leave here. Laughter poured from Russo's mouth, but there was no real joy in his laughter. Dean, I think you're confused. You've forgotten who you're talking to. This is Las Vegas, and as everyone knows, I do whatever I want here. I say whatever I want. No one can give me orders. I said your daughter has grown up. Is that wrong? I told the truth. Dean said nothing. He just signaled to restaurant manager Marcel. Marcel came running immediately, beads of sweat on his forehead, in anxiety. He didn't know how to handle this situation. Yes, Mr. Martin. Marcel, Mr. Russo is leaving. Now, immediately. Marcel was stunned, bewildered. Kick out Russo. This was unheard of in Las Vegas history. Mr. Martin, Mr. Russo, has the right to stay here. He has a reservation. Marcel, Dean's voice was now heard throughout the restaurant, cold but determined. Either he leaves or I leave this hotel forever with my family, never to return again. I'll cancel my 15-year Sands agreement. I'll cancel Rat Pack shows. I'll take Frank, Sammy, Joey, and work at another hotel. You'll lose Sands' biggest source of revenue. Now decide, Vincent Russo or Dean Martin. This ultimatum shocked everyone in the restaurant. Was Dean Martin threatening a Mafia leader with an open ultimatum? This situation had never happened in Las Vegas history. Marcel was soaked in sweat. For Sands Hotel management, Dean Martin's value was many times greater than Russo's value. The hotel's most profitable shows were Dean's concert. The Rat Pack was the locomotive of Las Vegas tourism, the city's golden goose. Russo was a powerful, dangerous man, but Dean Martin was both the prestige and main source of income for Sands. Mr. Russo, Marcel spoke in a trembling, desperate voice. I beg you, please, for tonight. Who are you to give me orders? Russo shouted angrily at Marcel, slamming his fist on the table. Then he turned to Dean, his eyes blazing with fire. Who are you? You're just a singer, a stage monkey. No one can kick me out of here. No one. Dean didn't react at all, maintaining his dignity. He just turned to his family, calm but determined. We're getting up. Pack your things. We're leaving this hotel. Dean. No, please. Marcel was completely panicked. This situation meant disaster for the hotel. Please, let's find a solution. While Dean was taking Diana's bag from the table, his voice was ice cold, but every word was weighty. Vincent, if I hear you open your mouth about my daughter again, you'll leave not just this hotel, but this city too. There are so many people in Las Vegas who owe me. Dean stopped, looked directly into Russo's eyes. Even the people who protect you are my friends. These words really surprised Russo. Dean Martin's connections and influence in Las Vegas were very, very deep. From the mayor, to the police chief, from other casino owners, to state politicians, even his FBI contacts. Everyone loved and respected Dean, and what Dean said was true. There was almost no one in this city who didn't owe him something or hadn't seen his kindness. Are you threatening me, crooner? Russo asked, but the previous confidence was no longer in his voice. There was some hesitation, some worry. No, Vincent, Dean replied with great calm, almost slightly smiling. I'm just telling you the truth. I won't stay under the same roof as a man who disrespects my daughter. This is a simple matter of principle. Marcel was now completely panicked. He urgently called hotel general manager Jack Entrater. When Entrater arrived running a few minutes later, he immediately grasped the situation and turned to Russo without hesitation. Vincent, please, let's arrange another beautiful reservation for you for tonight. Let's show respect to Dean's family's special evening. Russo, under Sands management, had chosen Dean Martin's side. He looked around. The whole restaurant was watching them, witnessing a drama followed table by table. If he tried to stay here by force, he knew his authority would be shaken, but if he left, he would be defeated in front of everyone. This business doesn't end here, Dean, Russo grumbled and muttered, but was already starting to back down. Dean turned to him, his voice now rising for the whole restaurant to hear. Vincent, I've been living in Las Vegas for I sing songs, I entertain people, I make them happy, they love me. You only spread fear. If you're wondering which of us has more real friends in this city, we can test it if you want. This open challenge practically mesmerized everyone in the restaurant. Dean Martin was courageously standing up, using his authority in the heart of Las Vegas. Looking behind Russo, there were several tables full of familiar faces in the restaurant. Some were casino owners, some were local politicians, some were businessmen. Most were close friends with Dean. They only showed respect to Russo out of fear. Dean's words were true. In the face of real friendship and real influence, Russo's authority based only on fear was shaking. Marcel tried desperately one last time. Russo, please, let's arrange a much more beautiful, more special table for you in a section. Russo had completely understood now. He couldn't win here. Dean Martin's place in Las Vegas was solid, while his own was based only on fear. But before leaving, he tried to make his last mistaken move. Dean, your daughter is really very beautiful. Maybe sometime. Dean's hand immediately went up, making a stop sign. His voice radiated danger. Stop. If you say one more word, you won't find anywhere to set foot in this city. Do you understand me? Russo stopped. Dean's determination in his eyes, the threat in his voice convinced him. This man could really do what he said. Dean Martin's social, political and economic influence in Las Vegas could be much more effective than Russo's brute force. This conversation isn't over, Dean, Russo said, but was now clearly backing down, accepting his defeat. It's over, Vincent. Completely over. Dean turned to his family as if nothing had happened. Let's finish our meal, princess. Russo left the restaurant with heavy steps. Several of his men followed him silently. His reputation was shaken, but at least he had avoided a bigger confrontation. After Russo left, spontaneous applause rose in the restaurant. People were standing and applauding Dean, with respect, with admiration. For the first time in Las Vegas history, someone had managed to make Vincent Russo back down, without using force, only with moral authority and social influence. Diana hugged her father tightly, admiration and gratitude in her eyes. Dad, thank you. That man's words were really very disturbing. I was very scared. My princess. Dean stroked his daughter's head, infinite love in his voice. I'll do anything to protect you. No one can disrespect you. I won't allow it. The news of that night spread word of mouth in Las Vegas. Dean Martin's authority in getting Vincent Russo kicked out became legend. People talked about Dean's courage, praised his character strength. Even the Mafia had learned that they had to bow to family honor and respect. The next day, Russo's men sent Dean a humble message. Boss, apologize. The disrespect wasn't intentional. It won't happen again. Dean's response was short, clear and determined. As long as my daughter and family are shown respect, there's no problem. But if such a situation happens again, I don't want to see any of you in Las Vegas. Vincent Russo never again made inappropriate comments about Dean Martin's family. In fact, when he encountered Dean, he would greet him respectfully, keep his distance, know his boundaries. Everyone in Las Vegas had learned this. Dean Martin's family was untouchable, a sacred boundary line. This incident further increased Dean's prestige in Las Vegas. People had seen that he was not only a talented singer, but also a principled, brave, protective father. He was now known as a man of character, who held family values above everything else. Years later, when Diana got married, the most powerful and influential people of Las Vegas came to her wedding. Vincent Russo was also among the invitees, but from a distance, respect. He had come to show his respect for Dean, and repeat his apology for that night, but hadn't approached, knowing his boundaries. That night Dean Martin taught Las Vegas this. Real power is protecting the powerless, looking after, and sometimes a father's instinct to protect his daughter can become a force that even a mafia leader will respect and bow to. Character, reputation, and love are always above brute force. Russo's years after that night were careful, respectful. He never again approached Dean's family, because that night, he had learned where the real power lay in Las Vegas. Dean Martin's family was completely sacred, untouchable. This story continued to be told for generations.